What's up YouTube? Mike here again with TechnoGI, and today I wanted to do kind of a unique, it's more of an opinion video. This is not one that I've done before per se, but it was just an article I was reading earlier today that kind of jumped out at me, and I kind of want to know your guys' thoughts. And basically, you know, I titled this video Strong Encryption, the Government and You. And there's been a lot of buzz lately about government and technology. We all know the Snowden thing where did the Wikipedia leaks and all that kind of stuff, but it was actually an article going back to Apple and Tim Cook. I mean, it's no secret if you see my videos, I'm not necessarily a fan of Tim Cook. I like Apple, I like their products, but I'm just not necessarily a Tim Cook fan. But this actually gave me a lot of respect for him and kind of made me like the company actually a little more. But basically, Apple CEO Tim Cook, and this is according to Business Insider and TechCrunch. I want to give them credit. The majority of this article that I was kind of sharing is written by Rob Price. But anyway, Apple CEO Tim Cook at a Monday awards ceremony reaffirmed his support for strong encryption, basically slamming law enforcement plans to undermine it as incredibly dangerous. So it's no secret that obviously the government is not necessarily a fan of strong encryption for the reason that they can't get into the data, they can't see the data. So they're not a fan of tech companies who are building in strong encryption, because law enforcement, for whatever reason, if they need to get in it, they can't. So I'm curious on your guys' opinion. I'll share mine here in a second, but as I said, strong encryption has become a contentious issue and source of rising tension between the US government and the tech community. I mean, basically, if you don't know what encryption is, it's just masking your data in such a way that it's not able to be understood by anyone who does not have the correct key to decrypt it. And it can help internet users keep their sensitive communications safe. But some people believe it possesses potential security risk, as it cannot be decrypted by authorities even with a search warrant. So if there's some criminals and the government gets a search warrant, they want to get in that data to find whatever, say they're doing an investigation, they're not able to do it because of how good encryption is. And like I said, I talked about Edward Snowden and his big deal. Of course, he was a big whistleblower, and ever since he came out and said that, hey, the government's monitoring companies, big tech companies they've tried to incorporate strong encryption into their products. So Apple has previously taken a strong stance on the issue, again with Tim Cook writing in an open letter to customers that the company had never worked with any government agency from any country to create a backdoor in any of our products or services, and we never will. And this position obviously is frustrating law enforcement. And me personally, I give Apple kudos, especially as a consumer. I think the data should be encrypted. I think any device I buy, whether it be my Surface, my phone, it should be encrypted for me personally, because it's my files. I don't want anybody to be able to see it, get into it, or monitor my online activity. And so kudos to Apple, because that is their stance. But of course, the government's not necessarily a fan of that. And even, let's see, yeah, when Apple announced that it would incorporate strong encryption on its mobile devices, one senior U.S. police officer said that now the iPhone's going to become the phone of choice for pedophiles. And I disagree with that. I mean, obviously, there's things where I think the government is going too far, getting into our business. Gun control is one of them. I don't want the government in my business when it comes to what I do on the internet, what I do on my personal devices. That's why it's called personal. It's mine, and I don't think the government has a right. So like I said, I give Apple kudos for speaking out, especially Tim Cook. And this is coming from Apple, or from Tim Cook. He says, "We believe that the people have a fundamental right to privacy. The American people demand it. The Constitution demands it, and morality demands it." And I really could not agree with Tim Cook more. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. Do you agree, disagree? I can't think of anybody that would necessarily disagree with or agree with the government being able to have access to your personal files, to your devices, to be able to get in it. And I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. Like I said, mine is I don't think they have any business or place in it. And of course, the U.S. government is pleading with tech companies to move away from strong encryption. Even President Obama, he hasn't yet called for an outright ban on it, but he wants to be able to track communications when possible. And even the FBI director, James Corney, he slammed companies like Apple for using the tech, contending that they are aiding the bad guys by doing so. And even in the UK, the Prime Minister, David Cameron, he also suggested that he may outlaw the tech entirely, which I don't see it happen. At least I can't fathom it happening in the United States, but who knows? Only time will tell. But Tim Cook, luckily, he's not having any of this. This is his quote. He says, "We think this stance is incredibly dangerous." The CEO said, according to TechCrunch, "We've been offering encryption tools in our products for years, and we're going to stay on that path. We think it's a critical feature for our customers who want to keep their data secure. For years, we've offered encryption services like iMessage and FaceTime because we believe the contents of your text messages and your video chats is none of our business." So I could not agree more. I mean, to me, whether it's for good intentions or not, I don't want the government to be able to monitor, or anybody for that fact, to be able to monitor my messages, my data, get in my devices. And I think we're really going down a dangerous path if we allow this. If the government passes this and is able to look at your data, look at your privacy, I mean, where does it end? I mean, that's the real question, is where is that line drawn? So how far will they continue to push it? I mean, if you give them a little bit, then, you know, who knows where they can go from there. So some governments, US included, have also requested that they be given back doors that they can give them access to online services. But Tim Cook, he disagreed with this idea, and this is a pretty cool quote. He says, "If you put a key under the mat for the cops, a burglar can find it too." And I mean, unfortunately, the bad guys, they got just as good, if not better, technology and hacking abilities than the government. So again, just like Cook said, if you leave a back door for the government to monitor, it's only a matter of time before the bad guys hack it and find it. And then before you know it, you've got identity theft and who knows else going on. So that's kind of my thoughts. I read this article and it jumped out at me because I am personally an advocate for encryption, for privacy. I'm not anti-government, but I am anti-government getting into my Cheerios when it comes to my data, my devices, my privacy. That's where I personally draw the line and don't want it. I work for the government. I'm in the military. Love my country, but privacy is privacy, and there's certain rights that we're promised as citizens of the United States by the Constitution. And I think when we start turning over the encryption, that's just the first step in giving up those rights. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I'm curious what you guys think about that as well. I mean, to me, it's kind of a hot topic, but I'd love to hear your guys' comments on this. And as always, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.